Mandala Art with Ms.Boley. So what are we doing? We're going to be creating a symmetrical and radial design, and then we're going to outline it with markers, and we're going to attempt to make sure that we have different thicknesses of lines. And then finally, we're going to add color to our design. We're going to consider color theory. Before you add color, make sure that you watch my video about colors and feelings. Why are we doing this? Well, first, we're trying to make the link between art and mental wellness because creating a design like this can be quite relaxing. We're also learning about shapes. So because we're going to be tracing some geometric objects that we found in our environments, maybe our homes or outside, we're going to be also creating our own unique shapes. So we're expanding our knowledge of shapes. We're using patterns in our artwork. And so we need to understand that pattern is the repetition of an element. And in our designs, we will be creating patterns. And as I mentioned before, we're exploring how colors impact the mood of an art piece. So what is a mandala? A mandala is a very important part of spirituality for many cultures. It's used in the religions of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Shintoism. In general, it's a circular design that grows out from the center, so it radiates out from the center. It often has geometric symbols that represent different things, and often it's used in meditation. So I wanted us to understand the cultural significance of mandalas before we go on and create our mandala inspired designs. All right, so just a recap of some terms. So a mandala is a circular design that radiates out from the center. A pattern is when we repeat the same element, so it could be lines, shapes, or colors. And a geometric shape is a shape that can be described by math. So for example, square, triangle, circle, hexagon, octagon, and more. So symmetry means that a design is the same on both sides. So as you see in the middle, there's a line of symmetry, and mandalas often have multiple different lines of symmetry. And radial, as I mentioned before, means that it's growing out from the center. So it has a center point and all of the elements in the design come outwards from that central point. We often see radial designs in nature. And we see patterns too. So we're incorporating natural designs and patterns in our artwork today. All right, what are we going to need? So we're going to need pencil, crayons, and markers, a pencil and eraser, a sheet of drawing paper. It's optional if you also want to have a sheet of a sheet of black paper. We're going to use a ruler to draw straight lines, and I suggest going around and finding some found objects to trace. So I've found a plastic plate, a tape roll, I found some little blocks that were hexagon shape. You could, like anything around your home that you think you could trace for this project, go and collect it now. All right, so step one is to draw our design. We're going to be using pencil. So as I mentioned, I found this plastic plate. I need a large circular object that I can trace around it. I'm just tracing around it with a Sharpie marker because I know that I'm going to have to go over that line later, and so I'm just trying to save myself some time. I'm trying to make it sort of even, and this is going to be a thick line around the outside. Well, I am going to be cutting this out after, so if I do have a little bit of kind of mistakes, then those will probably be cut out later. All right, so now I'm using my eyes just to estimate where I think the center of the circle is, and I'm going to use my ruler to divide it in half. I don't think I got it directly in the center, but that's okay. I can go back and change it. Okay, so tried that. That horizontal line looks okay, but I think I need to fix the vertical line. It is important that you divide your circle up into quarters, so into 4 pieces, and that we have that little, the place where the 2 lines cross each other as close to the center of the circle as we can. If you want to fold your paper in half or do some other method of finding the center, you can. What I did was I just used my eyes and estimated. All right, so now I'm just going to erase that other line. And I'm going to use my ruler to continue to divide up my circle into several more pieces. I'm going to draw 2 more lines. So a diagonal line in this direction, and then a diagonal line in the other direction. So again, to save myself time, I'm just going to outline these lines before I move on. And it is important to use your ruler so that your lines aren't wobbly, because remember, the mandala is about kind of like geometric shapes and precision in many ways. So we want to get these lines as straight as we possibly can. If you do have some little wobbles, that's all good. All right, so now I'm going in with some found objects, and remember I mentioned my tape roll. I'm just going to use pencil now to trace around some different objects and build my mandala kind of using these objects. So this is a little stamp that I'm using to trace. So I went around my home and I found as many circular objects that I could find, and I found some other shapes as well. Found some hexagons. I had trouble finding triangles. I wasn't able to find any of those. But yeah, do a search around your home. Use some found objects to trace to create your mandala design. So I'm going to speed up the video at this point, and you'll see how I build up my mandala. And I'm repeating the same element in each one of the divisions of the circle. So if I do something in one of those pizza slices there of the circle, then I need to do that in all of them. Or I could create a pattern where I do it in every second one or something like that. Also a tip for tracing. When you're tracing, it's really nice to hold the object in place with your non-dominant hand. It can be a little tricky if your pencil lines aren't the smoothest. You can always go back and fix that with marker. All right, let's speed up. Right, and now I'm no longer tracing, but I'm just adding my own invented shapes. So I'm doing sort of these arches. And I found that with my hexagon, it didn't turn out exactly symmetrical, and that's okay. I ended up just adapting my design. So now that you have traced some shapes, you can go in and add your own invented shape. I'm using a lot of arches and kind of embellishing some of the shapes that I have traced. Great, time to speed up. right, so step 2 is to go in with Sharpie or any kind of marker that you have. If you don't have a marker, you can just use ballpoint pen and go over the lines that you have drawn. And I do find that sometimes it is helpful, is what I'm doing right now, to use a ruler to go over your lines. It will make them look more crisp and precise. For some of the lines it won't work, like for example the curved lines, and you just have to do your best kind of to make them look precise. But yes, I recommend using a ruler. And I'm also using a thick Sharpie like the one that I have here, an even thicker one like the one you see over on the left, and then I have a thin one as well. So if you do have different drawing materials that allows you to get a different weight of line, that is really great. If you don't have those, that's okay. You can still create thicker lines by just overlapping, like drawing several times over the line with your regular marker or regular pen. Another thing that you're gonna see me do a lot is I'm rotating my paper to make it easier for me to work, because this is a circular design, so it just makes sense. And also, you see how this is a video that has not been sped up at this point. So you see how I am taking my time, and it's taking me a long time, and that's okay. This is meant to be just sort of a thing that we work on a little bit every day. You don't need to get it all done in one day. All right, let's speed up the video. Here I am using my fine tip Sharpie. Let's speed up the video. And one other thing you'll want to think about, and what I'm doing right now, is I am using my marker to color in certain areas with black. So I'm kind of using negative space in certain parts of my mandala design in order to, I guess it kind of balances out all of the lines. So I've chosen some little areas. It's mainly the areas that I've done the small arches. I'm going to color those in with my Sharpie marker. All right, there's my finished, well, it's finished and now I have to add color, but I'm finished doing the outlining. All right, so step 3 is to add color. So please make sure you've watched my video about colors and mood, and make your color choices based on a purposeful decision. So I've chosen to use orange and blue complementary colors to kind of have my mandala have like a sense of energy or a feeling of energy. And then most of the other colors that I chose were kind of a similar color to orange or blue. So I chose that teal color and purple and red. And I just went through and I added in different colors. And I'm using both Sharpie and
So I've cut
pencil
out
crayons.
my mandala and I placed it on black paper. That is optional, but it does look really nice with the black background. So take a photo and upload it. And I cannot wait to see what you create. And these mandalas are gonna look really great if we can create a display with a lot of them. This is one display from another art teacher. Her grade 4 class created these. All right, thanks for watching.